As you start progressing through Palworld, you need exponentially more metal. It really does end up becoming one of the gates to you progressing further through the game. For instance, if you want to craft one of the endgame saddles, you need 50 refined ingots. This saddle requires 200 refined ingots, 300 regular ingots, and we're not even talking about higher level armor or weapons yet. For instance, this epic handgun requires 225 ingots, and just blue versions of the refined metal armor require 120 each. Even repairing things becomes ridiculously expensive. This only has a tiny bit of damage on it and already requires a repair cost of 9 ingots. And today we're going to be going over exactly how to solve all of these problems. The space that I've been running for a few days now gets unlimited coal, unlimited ore, and it's a great place to farm up all of the ingots you're going to need in the game. You can see just how many resources I'm getting. It's constantly going up while I'm just sitting here recording this. All of these items are all transferred automatically to one box, so it's easily accessible. Not only are we going to be going over this base location, how to properly set it up, we're also going to be going over the best pals that you can use for this, how to get them early, and how to make sure the base is running efficiently so you don't have any issues with your pals getting sick or dying. Now, many of you may be playing on multiplayer servers, so understand not everybody's going to be able to build at this base, so we're going to be going over a couple of different locations that you can do this in. There are quite a few amazing metal and coal farming locations, some better than others depending on if you want to deal with heat resistance or cold resistance, and some of them are particularly amazing because they have the ability fruit tree locations at them as well. Like this one, I was able to get 3 of the epic quality ones, Dragon Meteor, Hydro Laser, and Solar Blast, all from the same tree, and having one of these at your base to be able to collect rare and epic quality ability fruits all the time is pretty amazing. Now we'll be going over all of the top locations in this, but let's start off at the one that I decided to build on a few days ago. From the Plateau of Beginnings, if you head north to where the Sealed Realm of the Guardian is, there's going to be a big mountain to the right, and on top of this mountain is a ton of ore and coal nodes. These are all really close together and allows you to farm up an unlimited amount of metal and coal. This location was actually pointed out to me during one of the live streams and it's been a pretty great ore and coal farm so far. It is by far the safest location because there's really nothing that can get you up here. There's not going to be any spawns for other pals. You don't have to deal with any heat or cold resistance. And the only downside is there's no ability skill fruit tree here. And it's pretty lumpy. So all you're really going to be doing here is just farming coal and metal. You can use this location as a base location if you want. You just have to be very careful of not despawning any of the ore or coal nodes. Now the way you're going to want to build this base is before you put down your pal box, you're going to want to put some foundations down at the very peak of this little hill that you're going to see when you get here. Once you place down your pal box on top of the foundations, no more enemy pals will actually spawn on this hill. When you first get up here, there will be some around. Just make sure to take them out first. And there's only a few things that we need to do to set up this location. Now you'll notice I have this random wall here and I have one box. It's very important that you place your pal box in the right orientation. Whenever you fast travel to your pal box, you always end up behind it. So you want to make sure that if you want to be able to quickly transfer items in between bases, that you have your box that you want to be able to transfer items into close to your pal box and behind it. This is actually an incredibly important tip, especially for any base where you're going to be setting up exclusively for coal, iron, or sulfur. Hello, Jormuntide. This can also come in super handy for any other base. Now, if we go into this one box that I have near my pal box, you'll notice all of our items are going into this box and this box only. I have this set up like this on purpose for a few different reasons. One, I want to be able to fast travel to and from to get items as quick as possible. And when you become over encumbered, I can actually take all of this at once if I wanted to one of my other bases. We are not able to move now, but if you use your grappling gun, you can just grappling over to the pal box even when you're over encumbered, and you can fast travel to carry your items. This works if you want to bring items here as well, and you can just go to this box and it's super quick and easy. Now there's 2 different ways we can get all of our items into this one box. I have all of my crafting happening over on this end here, and I have this set up like this because I don't want any of my pals getting stuck. If you have stuff set up too close together, your pals are going to glitch out, they're going to starve to death, they're going to get grumpy, and they're going to have a ton of different problems. So having a decent amount of space between things really helps things not glitch out, and it's incredibly important. Now you'll notice I have all of my forges built higher in the air, and there's a really good reason for that for this base in particular. And that's going to be for item transferring. If we go to this forge and we grab 283 ingots, and you're going to be able to craft a ton of ingots at this base all the time, you'll notice that we are now encumbered. But say we want to be taking these ingots to a different base, because I'm not going to be using this as my main one. What we can do is I built this wall here specifically for grappling gunning. So I can shoot this wall, and it's going to launch me over there, and it's going to put me right next to my box where I can transfer my materials right into there. Now what I can do is select everything that I want to bring to the other base. I can grappling over to here, and then fast travel to wherever I want to bring this. The way this is set up makes life so much easier, and you can do this really at any base you want. Just try and keep grappling gunning in mind for easily transferring materials. Now the other option is, if you're not in a rush, you can actually just drop these materials on the ground, and your pals will pick them up for you. So say you just want to get all of your stuff out of the refining machines, and you don't really need to take it to your other base. You can just drop it on the ground, and your pals will literally pick it up and bring it to the one box that you have set up. And this is why having one box is really important. If you have a whole bunch of them, they'll bring it to random boxes and all of your materials will be spread out. Obviously, this will be less easy to do if you actually use this as your main base location. You have a bunch of different storage. Your pals will just bring it to whatever box is closest. I had some theories that pals would prioritize bringing items to boxes with those items already in it, but after extensive testing, this isn't true at all. They'll literally just bring it to whatever's closer. Now, before we go over the best pals to use for your base, let's go over some more locations real quick. If you head up to the dunes area, to the sand dunes entrance, you can travel to the top of this plateau. And if you're just needing coal, there are a ton of coal nodes here, and it's relatively flat for you to be able to build a base here as well. There's also a skill fruit tree at this location where you can get epic and rare fruits. Head a little bit farther north, at the top of this next plateau, there's going to be a bunch more coal nodes here as well. And there are a few metal nodes throughout the top of this plateau as well. And as another added bonus, there is another skill fruit tree here. If you're looking for sulfur, this is one of the best locations to be able to farm it up in. I really don't think it's worth actually spending one of your 3 base locations on a sulfur farm. But if you head to the southwest corner of the map where the big lava volcano is, if you go to the Eternal Pyre Tower entrance, you can unlock this fast travel point, and this is where you can farm up a ton of sulfur. Now, if you're looking for pure quartz, this is going to be one of, if not the best location to be able to farm it up. You don't really need a lot of pure quartz until the very end of the game, and even then, you really don't need a ton of it. So perhaps setting up an entire base centered around pure quartz might not be the best idea, but there are 2 metal nodes here as well. Not only that, but just to the right, we've got metal nodes, more pure quartz, and even a coal node here. Now this location is in the northwest corner of the map. There's a fast travel point near here called Land of Absolute Zero, and you just head a little bit south, and you can find it down in this like little valley here. Another great pure quartz farm is going to be just south of that on this little plateau right here, and this is probably going to be the safest location if you want to set up a base here to prevent yourself from being able to be raided. There's actually quite a few different good base locations in the snow area of the map. Do keep in mind you will need at least 3 levels of cold resistance to be able to survive up here. Another great base if you want to be able to get coal without having to deal with any resistances, which is just north of the sealed realm of the Guardian, right on this little plateau here. There's quite a few of these coal nodes. Now there are quite a few coal nodes here, and it might not be the flattest base in the world, but it is protected on pretty much all sides from raids, so it might not be a bad choice. Now just east of that location, below the sealed realm of the Swift, if you head right around here, there's actually a rather large coal deposit right here with 1 metal node, and just to the right of it is a whole bunch of metal nodes as well. Now you'll notice one thing in common with every single other base location on this list is you never have an abundance of 2 main resources clumped up together. You'll either have a lot of metal with 1 or 2 nodes of something else, or a lot of coal with maybe 1 or 2 metal nodes. Same thing with the pure quartz and every other resource in the game. So unfortunately, I do have to say I think this main base location up here is actually going to end up being patched out, or they'll find a way to separate the nodes so you can't get all of them with 1 base. Seems rather odd that it would be the only place in the entire game where you have something like that. Now this holds true for the final base location on this list as well. This is right next to the Anubis spawn point. It's on this little plateau just before Anubis, and there are quite a few coal nodes here, and there is 1 metal node right here as well. And this is why I do think that 1 base with all the coal and metal nodes are going to be patched, and why I wanted to cover a bunch of different locations. Now let's go over the best pals for this base setup and how to get them. Now Anubis is definitely going to make it in my top recommendations for this. You can get it extremely early in the game through crossbreeding. It's got level 4 handicraft, 3 mining, and 2 transporting, making it one of the best pals in the game to have at your base at all times. And believe it or not, the only thing you need to do to be able to make one of these is breed a Pen King with a Bushi. You can get a Bushi early game as a boss fight here at level 23. It is just west of the starting location. And you can get a Pen King from the level 15 boss fight, also just north of the Plateau of Beginnings. For early game, Bushi isn't bad itself with level 2 Kindling, but there are definitely better. If you can get your hands on a Ragnahawk, this has level 3 Kindling and level 3 Transporting. I particularly love this PAL, or any flying PAL, to take care of things if possible, because they seem to get stuck significantly less. But by far the best option for Kindling is going to be Jormuntide Ignis. This is also going to be the hardest to get, as you really won't be able to acquire it unless you get lucky from a huge dragon egg, or from being able to capture it in the endgame zones. It does have Kindling level 4. Blasima, on the other hand, you can get from huge scorching eggs, with level 3 Kindling and level 4 Mining. This is going to be the PAL that I recommend for your mining base. It kills 2 birds with 1 stone, and I mean, they look freaking amazing as well. Now, Lylene is definitely one you're going to want as you're planting and gathering. You're only going to need one of these to handle all of the crops for automatic food production. It's got planting level 4, handiwork level 3, and gathering level 2, as well as medicine production, but it's not really useful for this base. For watering, you really don't need anything crazy. You can use a Pen King for this if you want, who can also mine and transport. Suzaku Aqua is currently my favorite with a level 3 watering and nothing else, so it's literally its only job, and it never gets stuck, so I'm always having my crops watered. Now, if you can't get your hands on a Blasima for the kindling and mining, your next best option is going to be a Reptyro. This comes with level 3 kindling and level 3 mining. These things are perfect. They don't get distracted with anything else other than doing their job. Talia is also another amazing option for planting. It's got level 3 planting and level 2 gathering. And you can acquire a Lylene by breeding a Petalia with one of these bad boys, Masanda. Masanda in its own right is pretty great with level 2 planting and level 3 transporting. Another great option for a kindling and transporting bird is going to be Phalaris, which you can get by breeding Anubis with a Vanwyrm. Aside from that, those are all the pals you're going to need to really make your life super freaking easy. And I definitely recommend going for the best beds possible. You really don't want to be using these straw pal beds. Once you can upgrade to the fluffy pal bed, I 100% recommend it. And then definitely the large beds as soon as possible as well. But that about covers everything you need to know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll see you all in the next one.